whatever it takes to start a business up is what I was gonna spend.
Right.
To a point, until it got to the point where my wife said no more.
Right.
Yeah, started the delivery service. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember it was about 20%, 10 to 20% of what it would have cost me to start a brick and mortar store. That I remember. I couldn't argue with that. But it's a lot of hard work. It's driving around. You can't do more than 15 deliveries in a 12-hour day.
Good tip.
Yeah, you can't.
I imagine you had like a Garmin navigation or whatever.
Yeah, you have.
You have to, right?
The navigation system in my car was cool, but I got a little plug for the iPhone. The iPhone navigation.
Apple owes you right there, buddy.
This is a delivery service best friend. I mean, it is on the fly. It's great. I could not have been. You're doing 7 to 8 deliveries a day without this. You're doing 12 to 15 a day with this. It's that simple. Right. It's that simple.
Plus, you thought out things a little bit more than your average delivery guy, and you actually had you scanned their rec.
Yeah, that's another investment I made. Instead of driving around with a laptop and a photocopier or anything like that, DocuPen is the brand, and it's also the model. It's called DocuPen. It looks almost like a drumstick, about the same size as a drumstick you play drums with. But you lay it down flatways, and it's you just run it across their rec, and I could scan someone's recommendation in at their house in 10 seconds, as you saw. You were patient number 1. If you recall, you were my test run. It was sloppy.
It was sloppy. It took him like 3 times to do it, but it worked.
But I got it, and it worked really well once I got the hang of it. It worked really, really well. And the memory card in the DocuPen, if I recall, was 3 or 4 gigs. 3 gigs, I believe.
Oh, that's
and
a lot.
It held thousands of documents. I didn't even put a dent in it. Didn't even put a dent in it. So yeah,
awesome.
You verify over the phone. You do everything the same. But like I said, there's no overhead involved in a delivery service. A little bit more risk though, walking into someone's house.
There is. Did you ever have any problems?
No. I've told the story to many people. There's 2 times when I was on delivery. When I got the call, the guy placed the delivery, I hung up the phone, and I got a bad feeling. So I called my wife, and I told her, I was like, hey, this is the address where I'm going. If I don't call you in the next half hour or so, this is where I'm at. This is what happened, And God's honest truth, those 2 times that I called her, those 2 deliveries turned out to be my best customers ever.
Wow.
One of them I went to on the first delivery when I got there. This was in Placentia. His mom was making meat and potatoes, Mexican family. Oh, they invited me in for dinner right there. It's the first time I had met anyone there, and I sat down for dinner with them and was there for a good hour and a half.
And that's like one of the best parts about being a delivery. First of all, you're the man.
Yeah, that's the pro there's a big pro. When you're weighing pros versus cons, one of the pros when it comes to delivery is you really get to hang out and you're appreciated a little bit more. I felt a little more appreciated as a delivery service operator than I do as a collective owner. As a collective owner, man, they just come in and beat you up.
Yeah.
They just treat you.
But when you're in their house, you drove to their house.
Exactly.
You brought them the buzz they specified.
Right, and they often want to hang out for a minute. That's one thing you have to know too when you're doing a delivery service. A lot of times you have to factor in time during the day to just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
Because they just want to chill.
They want to chill with you. By the way, William S. Burroughs' book Junkie that he wrote, like in the 30s, has a very. He talks about being a weed dealer and how he couldn't be a weed dealer because all the stoners wanted to talk with him after he sold bud. That's why he moved to heroin. But yeah, man. You are the man of Orange. In Orange County in that time. You were the man, and I knew you were the man because I had my people that I would meet, and they would talk. Yeah, I saw Chubbs last night, and this really happens in a bar, right? But I was in a business meeting because you search engine optimization. So I was meeting a client there, right? And he's like, yeah, I saw Chubbs last night, and then I overheard him as I walked over. I never even told you the story, man. And he's like, and I'm like, wait a minute, Chubb's in Newport, right? He's like, yeah, that's him. So, like, oh, yeah, that's my boy, and it was really, like, no. And he's like, what? Did you see that chunkle?
The chunkle. Nuggetry, the chunkle.
Yeah, so, it's, and we connected right there because of this dude, and he had no idea that I knew him, or I was in any way involved in that or anything. So
that's funny to hear. Small world.
Exactly.
But yeah, I worked very hard, and like I said, running a delivery service can be. You can make a few bucks. You can have a lot of fun, but it is work. You drive, you have to like driving. Boy, do you have to like driving. You spend more time on the road than doing anything else. It's kind of like hurry up and wait. But those wait periods when you're with the patient, more often than not, it's pretty chill.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot more personal than a brick and mortar dispensary. But you're limited. 15 deliveries a day.
Now, yeah.
I had $100 minimum. You had to order at least $100 for me to walk out the door. It became really driving from Newport Beach to La Habra to drop off an eighth. No, that got old real quick. At first, it was get out there and get it, but no. Once you get a little bit busy, it's not realistic. It really isn't realistic. You have to have a minimum of $100 or less. $100 or more, in my opinion, $100 or more, and you have to be an hour or less. You have to get there. Don't try and do orders in the morning for deliveries in the afternoon, or orders today for deliveries tomorrow.
Right.
They make their call, they want their meds, they want them now.
Right.
They want them now.
Right.
And especially now, it's a lot different now than it was 6 months ago, especially. There's a lot more places, delivery services and collectives in Orange County than there was just literally when I did Nuggetry 6 months ago.
That's true.
It's a lot different. It would not be as easy for me to dominate like I did. It wouldn't, straight up.
Right.
But I still would. But yeah, you have to be there right away. And there's nothing, I have no complaints about it other than the fact that you're doing a lot of driving and you're limited.
Yeah.
I didn't think owning my own collective would be that much different until I did 20 patients by noon one day. I was like, okay, if I could do 20 by noon in a store and 15 in an entire day on delivery, it was simple economics.
Right.
You know, it was, and I wasn't running myself ragged.
Right.
You know, you're driving yourself crazy, running around all day, every day.
Man, you were stressed out, dude.
Yeah, you walk from an office to the bud room, and then when you're done, you walk from the bud room back to your office. You know, that's
right.
It's a lot harder to set up, but a lot of times you start with a delivery service, you make a name for yourself, you prove yourself to be trustworthy, reliable, you know what you're doing, and believe it or not, there are people that will find you who are willing to invest in what you're doing and say, you know, if you want to take this to the next level, in my opinion, from delivery to storefront would be the next level.
Right.
There are people that will help you do that. I don't know of any official, what's the word I'm looking for? Investors, not investors,
venture capitalists.
I don't know of any official medical marijuana venture capitalists. That might be an idea someone might want to take and run with.
You got a free one right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's like, medicalmarijuanaventurecapitalist.com. Got it.
Judging.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Like I said, I don't know of any official MMJ or green venture capitalists, but I do know that there are a ton of unofficials, and they will find you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, you know, I like what you're doing with Nuggetry. You know, how can we get in on this? And if I would have been willing to listen to at least one of them, we could have done something a lot sooner than I ended up doing.
Right.
But I'm just too stubborn to listen to anything.
Yeah, you're very stubborn.
It works out in the end.
You do your way.
So let's say you do have the money and you want to do either or. You say you've got $100 grand in the bank and you're thinking dispensary or delivery service. Why do you do a dispensary over a delivery service? When, you know, let's say you can do a delivery service with 3 or 4 drivers. Would you do that over a dispensary?
You know, it's all about you know, how you want it, how you envision what you envision for yourself, because both of them, like you're saying, both of them have positives and negatives. Now, most people right now, they're choosing to go with the dispensary at the brick and mortar route, and just like you said, it's kind of like simple efficiency. You can just serve more patients in the day than you could delivery. Delivery is, you know, for certain. I know there's certain delivery. There's always going to be a market for that because there's people that are unable to drive. They don't have a car, or for health reasons they can't drive.
Right.
There's always going to be a huge market for delivery everywhere, and even in places, especially in places where they don't have dispensaries.